In block number 5, we're ready to start removing the influx. We're going to talk about the first circulation of the driller's method. We're going to get everything prepared and we're going to start circulating. We're going to show you, for the supervisor, how to control the choke and control bottom hole pressure. Okay, I just finished the kill sheet and I think we're ready to start killing the well. Today we're going to use the driller's method. That means we're first going to remove the influx. So bottoms up, only pump the endless volume. And after the gas has been removed, we're going to pump the kill mud, the second circulation. So first I like to focus on the first circulation of the driller's method. And why are we going to use the driller's method? Well, it's the company policy, so that's what we do. Another reason is that the weight and weight only gives me a big advantage if my string volume is less than open hole volume. And I just checked on my kill sheet, it's not the case. It's not that when we use the weight and weight on this well that we're going to have lower shoe pressures. So we go for the driller's method. They can start mixing the kill mud while we start circulating. I know exactly how many strokes to pump. I can check it out. My endless volume, total endless 2400 strokes, and it's going to take me 80 minutes. So what I always like is to make a graph. So everybody involved in the kill on the rig floor knows the plan, knows the numbers, is part of the operation. So we're going to make a kill graph. We said we shut in the well, the shut in drill pipe pressure, it's stabilized at 406 psi. And with the first circulation driller's method, we don't change the mud weight. So as long as I'm not pumping, or you pump for a while and you stop pumping, this number doesn't change. My static pressure should not change when you do not change the mud weight. When we start pumping, we need some additional pressures. And the pressure we checked when we took our SCRs, and it was 160 psi. So we know when we're pumping, on top of this number, I need an additional 160 psi. Expected pressure, we call ICP. 406 plus 160 is 566. And also that one doesn't change when you pump the same mud weight. Static, pumping. Static, dynamic. Not pumping, pumping. And the difference is your dynamic pressure loss. And we're expecting, it's just an expectation, that's all it is, that in the endless the gas goes up and at a certain point it will start expanding till it is at the choke. And when we removed all the gas, the casing pressure should be equal to shutting drill pipe. And I just write down the number, it can be handy. And we said it's going to take how many strokes? One more check. Endless volume, 2400 strokes. That's the minimum we have to pump to get your bottoms up. Shut in casing pressure. And the shut in casing pressure was 450. So these numbers are there to kill the well in balance. But I always like to use some safety margin. I'll just remove this one a little bit. Mass is 1200 psi. So according to the numbers we still can go up 800 psi. But at this moment, maybe the shoe is not the weak point. Maybe it is a reservoir. The kick we took means the reservoir is open. It came in easy, the gas, it also can go back easy. So I would not go to 800 psi safety margin, but 100, 200 psi is a figure normally used. So instead of drawing a lot of more lines, I tried to keep it simple. Just with red, I said plus 200 safety margin. So including the safety margin, everything goes up 200 psi. So that's my plan. And everybody now on the rig floor, the driller, the tool pusher, the company man, the drilling engineer, the system driller, everybody is aware of the plan, the numbers. And we see the drill pipe continuously goes up slowly. The gas is still migrating. So we said with 406 the well was in balance. Now we got 437. So roughly we have 30 psi extra. We do have 30 psi overbalance. We can wait till it's at 606, but that's going to take a while. What we also can do, with the choke still closed, we can say let's pump it up. We're going to pump in the safety margin. Don't call it trap pressure, it's a safety margin. It's your decision, you're in control. So I'm going to walk to my driller's panel and I'm just going to pump it up slowly to 606 on the drill pipe. Always use the drill pipe for that, the clean side. Because what happens on the analyst side, I can show you over here, when you start adding additional pressure on top, plus 200 on top means plus 200 at the bottom. And the same happens on the analyst side, but there's the influx, there's the gas that will be compressed. This total hydrostatic head will change if you start compressing the gas. But there's no influx inside the drill string, so always use the drill pipe, the clean side, for controlling bottom hole pressure. So now I'm going to pump it up to 606. Okay. So we just pumped up the drill pipe with 200 psi, our safety margin. The choke is still closed. We also see that the casing went up with almost 200 psi. And the gas got compressed a little bit. So now we are ready to start circulating. We need to make sure the mud gas separator is lined up. The hotline is already running. The YouTube is already filled up. There's a lot of stuff we need to do. Also for the driller, maybe you already do have a trend sheet to fill in your strokes, the pressures, the pit volume, the pressure inside the mud gas separator, maybe your gas levels. There's a lot in real life you need to keep track of. It would be nice if you have a well-killed data sheet like you do when you're drilling. Hey driller, this is your task. Keep track of it. If anything changes, not according to the trends we're expecting, let me know. Don't be shy. So, what I normally like to do, I first open the choke a little bit. And you just let me grab some parts. This is an example of what's inside your choke. This is the part that is fixed, and this is the part that moves in and out when we operate the handle on the remote choke panel. And in real life you never really know what is the position of this part. Okay, the needle tells you, but it may be wrong. But what I like to do, I will line up, I will open the valves in front of the choke, which we had shut in, for the hard shut in. I open the valve and open the choke a little bit. And the moment your casing pressure starts dropping, you know this is starting to open. It's a very small gap. It's not that you lose all your pressure straight away, but I know, hey, I'm lined up, I know my choke is working, I know exactly when it starts opening, and then you start pumping. A lot of people do the other way around. They first start pumping, but if this one is still in there for a couple of inches, it takes quite a while. So now it's stuck, no it's not. There it is. It's a metal to metal seal. You never know, and if you open it and the pump is running, the pressures will shoot up. And you may break your formation. So do yourself a favor, first open the choke just a little bit, till you see that pressure drop. And then you know, hey, if I touch the handle on the panel, something is happening. I can open it up to lower the pressure, or I can close it again to make the pressures go up. Okay, we're ready to start the first circulation of the driller's method. We do have all the information. We pumped in the safety margin. We do have 200 psi overbalance on bottom at 200 psi on top of the stabilized shut-in drill pipe pressure. So before we're gonna start, we need to open the valve on the choke manifold, the upstream valve. So it's lined up from the BOP choke line to the choke buffer tank to the mud gas separator. So that's lined up. The pressure is not dropping, so the choke is holding. I need to reset my stroke counters. The driller can do the same. So we're all working with the same numbers. So like I said, before we start, I like to open the choke a little bit, know when it opens. And when we're going to start pumping to a kill rate of 30 strokes per minute, we're going to keep the casing pressure constant at in this case 640 psi. I will even write it down. So that's the number while starting up. Once we're at kill rate, we switch over to the drill pipe pressure, and I'm expecting around 770 psi on my drill pipe. And once we're at kill rate, that's the one we're going to maintain constant. This is the expectation, and we'll see what the real number is. So I'm going to open the choke a little bit. The moment it starts dropping, I will ask the driller to start pumping. We're going to start with 5 strokes and then increase with increments of 5 up to a kill rate of 30 strokes per minute. The driller is going to keep track of the volumes in the tanks, the pressures every 5 minutes, whatever you want, every 100 strokes. I think I'm ready. Let's go. So I'll open the choke a little bit, not too fast. That's a lot easier to control. You see it slowly dropping, and I don't even do anything. I just want that to drop as well. My transmission time. There we go. So I know in this case, within 5 seconds, nothing will happen if I open the choke on that side. I also know I do have communication. Nothing is plugged up. I know while I'm talking I lost 20 psi, but that's not a big deal because I did have 200 psi safety margin. And if the driller can now start pumping and give me 5 strokes, you straight away will see, this is my stroke counter, my pressure straight away will go up again, 5 strokes. And straight away I will catch up. I'm exactly where I want to be. I'm getting close to the 640, so I even open the choke a little bit more. And it's still going up. Now it's dropping. Now I can go to 10 strokes, another 5 driller. And there we go to 10 strokes. And look at this. I only have to open the choke a little bit and I'm back on track. 15 strokes. There it comes. And see, knowing I do have 200 psi, I'm not getting nervous when it drops 20 psi. And I'm still a little bit low on the 640. So without touching the choke, can you go, driller, please go to 20 strokes. Increasing the pump rate, and straight away you see the pressure going up. And the less you move the choke, the better you see the trends. And I'm just catching up. And you can go to 25 strokes per minute. Perfect. I open the choke a little bit. And then one more step to kill rate. Can you go to 30 strokes per minute. 30 strokes per minute. I open the choke a little bit. 30 strokes, perfect. So keep it at 30 strokes, because everything we do is based on a constant pump rate. Don't change the pump rate anymore. I have to do some fine tuning over here. 640 is the perfect number, but 660 is fine, 620 is fine. And just let us stabilize. On the rig, I would like to use these gauges with a needle. But the scale is here 10,000 psi. It's not easy to see over here. So for the training, I'm using the digital gauge. But also to show you that once it's stabilized, don't touch the choke anymore. And it's not about 10 psi, it's not about 20 psi. On this gauge you don't even see 20 psi or even 50. So we're killing at 30 strokes per minute. We kept casing constant. When we start increasing the pump rate, we started with a static drill pipe of 606 and now we're at kill rate, it's 790. Hey, we expected 766. Close in line to our expectation, but this is the number we're using. So I say we're going to continue killing the well, and our circulating pressure is going to be 790 psi. On the rig I would say 800, easy number. I even write it down on this pressure gauge. While pumping, keep the drill pipe constant at 790 psi. And if it drops 5 psi, 10 or 20, it's not a big deal. Because we know with this number we do have 200 psi overbalance. Also to realize if you want to adjust the pressure, and when you operate the choke, the first one to change will be the casing pressure gauge, because this sensor is right next to the choke. If I close the choke a little bit, that pressure wave has to go all the way down and up again in the well, so it takes some time. Keep that in mind. Every time you adjust the choke, first look at the casing. I will show you. I will close it a little bit. It goes up, and there it goes up as well. On the simulator, this transmission time is just a couple of seconds. In reality, it may be 10-20 seconds. So don't let it fool you. Don't focus too much on the drill pipe when you adjust the choke. It's still going up, so I'll just open a little bit, get back to our target. So it's not dropping. Okay, there it's dropping, and I'll just see what happens on the other side, on the drill pipe side. So then I would say step back and just monitor the process.